The Supreme Court began hearing the substantive case of the election petition on the 16th of April 2013. Ghanaians have since been introduced to legal jargons, general courtroom procedure, and numerous rulings.
And thanks to the live telecast of the court proceedings, GTV now recaps highlights of the hearing.
The date of the new Patriotic Party (NPP), Nana Akufo-Addo, his running mate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the chairman of the NPP, Mr. Jake Obichabi Lamte, filed a petition at the Supreme Court seeking to nullify the results of the presidential election, which saw President John Mahama being declared winner by the Electoral Commission. The party contended that the victory for the NDC presidential candidate was fraudulently won. The petition was therefore filed against the Electoral Commission and the President. Before the Supreme Court could begin hearing the substantive case, the NDC filed an application to be joined to the petition as an interested party in the case. This was granted by the Supreme Court after hearing their plea. Hearing of the substantive case then began on the 16th of April after the petitioners had amended their petition and furnished the court with further and better particulars. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the second petitioner, who also served as the star witness for the petitioners, was first to mount the witness box. Led in evidence by lead counsel for the petitioners, Mr. Philip Addison, Dr. Bawumia sought to justify the petitioners' claim of overvoting, voting without biometric verification, and duplicated pink sheets. Lead counsel for the first, second, and third respondents, Mrs. Tony Letha, Kwashi Aidon, and Chachuchi Kata, then took turns to seek to discredit the claims made by the petitioners during their cross-examination of Dr. Bawumia. Mr. Chikate's cross-examination of Dr. Bawumia lasted 13 days. There was controversy about the actual number of pink sheets filed by the petitioners and served on the respondents. The international accounting firm KPMG was therefore appointed by the Supreme Court to conduct an audit of the pink sheets to ascertain the actual number filed. When KPMG eventually submitted its report to the court, the parties took turns to seek clarification from their representative. General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Johnson Esedun Ketia, mounted the witness box as the star witness for the second and third respondents, where he was led in evidence by lead counsel for the first and third respondents, and then later cross-examined by counsel for second respondent and the petitioners. Mr. Esedun Ketia sought to advance evidence to rebut the allegations of overvoting, voting without biometric verification, no signatures on pink sheets, and voting at 23 unknown polling stations. When the chairman of the Electoral Commission took his turn in the box, he also sought to discredit the claims of the petitioners. Dr. Kwejoa Farijan denied claims that verification only referred to fingerprints. For his part, lead counsel for the petitioners, Mr. Philip Addison, in a cross-examination that spanned over a period of 14 days, sought to expose what he claimed to be irregularities and malfeasance on the part of the EC. Another matter worthy of note is the application for an amicus curiae brief filed by a friend of the Supreme Court, Mr. Benoni Tony Amekuji, to draw the attention of the court to what he felt was a violation of the law in the hearing of the presidential election petition. He argued that a certain president cannot be sued per the dictates of the 1992 Constitution. His application was, however, dismissed and hearing of the case continued. As the case wore on, some supporters of the political parties involved in the case began to make statements in the media which the court considered as being contemptuous. After a series of warnings, the court cracked the whip. Sami Uku of the NPP, Ken Kranchi of the Searchlight newspaper, and Stephen Atubiga of the NDC were cited for contempt and duly punished. To stop further acts and statements of contempt, all the lead counsels for the parties involved in the election petition jointly made a public statement supporting any disciplinary action the Supreme Court would pronounce on contemnors. On Wednesday, 16 July, Mr. Addison ended his cross-examination of Dr. Afarijan, and the court subsequently directed both parties to file their addresses by 30th July 2013, in which they were expected to highlight issues relating to law and convince the court to accept their pleadings. They later made their oral presentations, after which the court held its last open sitting on the 14th of August to enable the judges to seek some clarifications from the lead counsels. On the said date, The court also invited the General Secretary of the NPP, Mr. Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, and a member of the NPP communications team, Mr. Hobson Adoye, to appear before it to answer questions on statements they had made, which the court considered contemptuous. After hearing their plea through counsel, Ni Ayikwe Otu, the court fined Mr. Owusu-Afriyie 5,000 Ghana cedis and Mr. Adoye 2,000 Ghana cedis and made them sign a bond to be of good behavior. President of the panel of judges, Mr. Justice William Atuguba, then set 29th August as the day on which the verdict of the court will be made known.